This is Wellness Buds, and I'm your host, Stella Wingfield. This episode is inspired by the fact that this is Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, and it is also inspired by the following quote. I survived because I remained soft, because I listened, because I wrote, because I huddled close to my truth, protected it like a tiny flame in a terrible storm. Hold up your head when the tears come, when you are mocked, insulted, questioned, threatened, when they tell you you are nothing, when your body is reduced to openings. The journey will be longer than you imagined. Trauma will find you again and again. Do not become the ones who hurt you. Stay tender with your power. Never fight to injure, fight to uplift. Fight because you know that in this life you deserve safety, joy, and freedom. Fight because it is your life, not anyone else's. I did it. I am here. Looking back, all the ones who doubted or hurt or nearly conquered me faded away, and I am the only one standing. So now the time has come. I dust myself off and go on. Chanel Miller. So if sexual assault is triggering for you, maybe the inspiration for this episode, you might have realized that I was going to talk about that a little bit today. But if it's triggering, maybe it's not something you want to listen to. I'm not going super in depth about anything in particular, but I am going to speak on it a little bit. I think it's something, or I know it's something, obviously with the Me Too movement, a lot of women have been impacted by this, and it's definitely something that I'm passionate about, raising awareness. I recently read Chanel Miller's book, Know My Name. That's going to be the product of the week, so I'm going to link that in our show notes. Laura isn't here today, and honestly, I wasn't planning on recording either. I'm not really feeling too great, and I've had a wild week, and Laura has too, so we were just going to skip it, but I just think that April and Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, I just wanted to just speak on it just a little bit, just briefly. It's just, like I said, it's super near and dear to my heart of, it's such a horrible thing that can happen and does happen so regularly, unfortunately, in our culture. And I think talking about it, raising more awareness about it, maybe trying to examine why our culture and our society has normalized it so much that men feel, and I mean, maybe it's not all men, but a lot of men might feel like they have control over our bodies and that's all we are, or just like our bodies, like Chanel just said, like we're reduced to our openings, and it's just horrible. And I know that it's talked about more now than ever, but I think it also is something that should be talked about more because, like I just said, it's just so relatable. So many women can relate to being violated in that way, and having conversations about it is, I feel like, one of the few things we can do, like sharing our stories, because so often the judicial system fails us. So what can we do? Use our voices, share our stories, know that we're not alone. I'm going to link a TED Talk and a YouTube video about this. A male and a female who come together, and they actually wrote a book, but he raped her when they were teenagers, and then years and years later, she reached out to him, basically demanding him taking responsibility for his actions and what he put her through. They actually met up in person all these years later for a whole week and talked about it, and he is taking ownership and they're doing talks. And yeah, so I'm going to link that below. I don't think it's often that we get that perspective of someone who has raped another person and that person who was raped coming forward and collaborating together in such a way. It's super unique and interesting, and yeah, so I'm going to link that below. I hope that you all have a really great week. I know this is a very serious topic, but at the same time, it's something, like I said, I just think we should be talking about it and learning from other people, reading people's stories, like Chanel's story. She actually goes to trial. Her book, Know My Name, is called Know My Name because for so long she was Jane Doe or Chanel Doe, And then she wrote a book like reclaiming her name and telling her story, because so often, you're made to feel like you are at blame. And I feel like defense attorneys, obviously it's their job to basically demean you, and like belittle your experience and making you feel so reduced. It's like someone's pain versus another person's potential. I know that's another point that she makes in her book. It was definitely triggering for me, but also such a worthwhile read. She is so articulate and put into words so many feelings that I've had in my own trauma. So I highly, highly, highly recommend her book. Maybe looking at some of those TED Talks and the YouTube thing that I'm going to post below too. If you have anything you'd like to say about it, feel free. I would love to hear from you. Product of the week, Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I hope you all have a lovely week. If you have a moment to rate our podcast, that would be great. If you want to share with anyone who you think might benefit, that would also be super appreciated. I'm just so happy that people take the time out of their weeks every week to listen. I see you. I appreciate you. And yeah, Laura will be back next week, and I think we're going to talk about the principles of pleasure, oddly enough, in juxtaposition to assault. So cool. Yeah. Have a great week. Bye.